YouTube versus Nelk again. I mean, these guys are literally always in trouble with YouTube. Every other week, they're either monetized or demonetized. Maybe next week, they'll just straight up be terminated. Before I go too much further into this video, I'd like to explain my feelings on Nelk, just so you guys can kind of get the perspective on my bias here. I'm not really a big fan of the guys. I used to really like their content, but they started doing some kind of crappy stuff to people. I've watched several videos that I thought should have just never been on YouTube, like shooting bullet holes through cheeks or shooting people with BB guns, not airsoft guns, but BB guns, shooting metal things at each other, going into people's skin. They're showing that on YouTube. Oh yeah, and just straight up disrespecting Uber drivers, all sorts of really crappy stuff, and now they're partying and having massive get-togethers during COVID, no mask, butt to butt, everyone is touching, breathing into each other, like straight up into each other's nostrils, like that type of stuff. And yeah, that's an Nelk for you. But in this video, I'm actually going to be defending them because I do not agree with YouTube taking their monetization away for something they did in real life. Alright, so a little backstory here. This guy named Taylor Lawrence decided to post something basically exposing Nelk for partying. He tweeted at YouTube about this, and I'm not really too sure why. I guess he's just the new content cop out here, trying to get people terminated, but he decided to take things into his own hands, and well, YouTube saw it and decided to respond, and this is their response. We have temporarily suspended monetization on the Nelk Boys channel for violating our creator responsibility policy. Now, this policy I've never heard of. I legit didn't know it was a thing until today. And I'm going to talk about this policy a little bit more because it's very concerning and might impact you. If we see that a creator's off-platform behavior harms our users, community, employees, or ecosystem, we take action to protect the community. In this case, these creators were encouraging very large groups of people to actively disregard social distancing guidelines from local health authorities that were put into place to prevent the spread of COVID-19, creating a widespread public health risk, a YouTube spokesperson. I like how the bottom is legit, like, just so broad, so general. Like, it's not this guy, it's just some YouTube person, some YouTube spokesperson. Good job, guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, because I am curious what you guys would say about this. If this happened to you, I'm sure you'd be pretty annoyed. So the funny part is, I don't think Nelk really has any videos that get monetized. YouTube demonetizes everything they do because Nelk is extremely edgy as they come. They're literally edgier than the freaking razor blade I cut myself on last week. Like, they're just that good. So the creator responsibility policy. This thing is very concerning, and I've never seen them put this policy to use until the Nelk, and I'm really curious if they've used this policy before just to kind of mess with people and it just was quiet, hush hush, and no one knew about it, and now it's happening to Nelk and it's kind of being brought back into light. Alright, so my question is to YouTube, are you guys gonna actually like enforce this to everyone? Are you just gonna pick and choose who this is gonna apply to? Because I don't see you doing this to a lot of other people who are doing worse stuff than the Nelk. So what I'm trying to get at here is, why doesn't YouTube enforce this for people like Tekashi69 who have been involved in murders? They've done some bad stuff in the real world, but YouTube isn't taking down his freaking monetization on his channel. They're letting that slide. And better yet, what about all the YouTubers with allegations involving minors? Like, all their channels are still monetized. YouTube didn't touch them. And in my eyes, they've done worse stuff. I can see how this policy can be good in theory, and I can understand why they put this into place for this video. It just kind of worries me where they're gonna take this, because say I do something on Twitter, I trash talk Susan because I don't like the new rules she makes on YouTube. Am I gonna get demonetized for that? I just don't think it's YouTube's place to be policing us in real life, judging whether or not we deserve to be monetized on their platform, if we're holy enough for YouTube. It's just starting to get kind of scary, to be honest. YouTube just seems like it's turning into just a government's website that just does whatever the government tells them to do, and they can't really help it because they're just so big right now that they have to enforce government regulations. And I know half of you probably don't care. As soon as I start getting into political stuff, you probably zone out. But it's kind of important because it really affects YouTube, and it's gonna affect your future. It's just funny how YouTube does this, and then there are plenty of channels that do bad stuff on the platform and they don't touch them. But they do demonetize the people who actually need it, who aren't actually doing bad stuff, just being slightly edgy like my boy Flow Motion. So yeah, in this situation, I'm actually supporting the Nelk boys for this because I don't agree with it. I don't agree with what the Nelk boys did, but I don't think they should be demonetized for this. Especially considering the only videos that they're posting with this were on Instagram, not even YouTube. Like, come on. Anyways, thank you guys for sticking around and listening to me rant about YouTube once again. If you guys enjoyed this video, maybe consider becoming a member. It really helps support the channel because, well, monetization isn't doing the greatest here. And I'll see you guys on my next video.